Stop eating that spun sugar.
You'll spoil your dinner.
Papa, we saw the Galapagos flood. Big waves came up and flooded the whole city. And when the water went back, it was all muddy and horrible, full of dead bodies.
Oh.
Daddy never saw anything where I could feel alive.
Stop eating that spun sugar.
You'll spoil your dinner.
Papa, we saw the Galapagos flood. Big waves came up and flooded the whole city. And when the water went back, it was all muddy and horrible, full of dead bodies.
Oh.
Well, I guess I set myself up for that one.
Was something wrong with your neck?
Oh, yeah, I must have heard it when...
Better?
Yeah. Hey, I just learned how to do that.
An Arapaho medicine man.
Get out of here.
Born and raised with him. My father was an Army medic. He settled down in the Kansas Territory after he met my mother.
No kidding.
Nope. I got a sheepskin from Howard U. and a bearskin from old Ironcloud. Halfway through medical school, I was drafted. One day, I'm studying gross anatomy in the classroom. The next, I'm sewing up Rough Riders on San Juan Hill.
Main course.
I couldn't eat another.
Destruction cometh, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. But E. Calloway is content, for he has found the Garden of Eden. The truth makes you free, says the country lawyer. I've studied the Bible and walked these woods, and I can prove that this is paradise. And the Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. This sacred spot, contends Calloway, is here to the east of the Apalachicola River in the unspoiled country of the Florida Panhandle. Here grow trees pleasant to the sight, including gopher trees, the long-needled torreya which Noah used to build the ark. A Baptist minister, Calloway started his search after discovering several petrified logs of the wood near the park. That says the woods afire, he says of the discovery, and here his quest ends, where the river winds its way through the green loveliness of his Eden, all described and documented in his book. Well, Mr. Calloway, you say that this is the Garden of Eden. There it is.
I think about in the center of the garden, north and south. The Garden of Eden, east and west, is not over 10 miles wide, paralleling the river from Chattahoochee down to Bristol. But you're right in the center of it here at Torreya State Park, north and south, between Chattahoochee and Bristol.
Well, now, according to the Bible, the Garden of Eden must have trees pleasant to the sight, and it must have gold and onyx stone and a river of 4 heads. Is this one of the rivers?
This is the Pison River, which is mentioned in the 2nd chapter of Genesis, when it says, a river went out of Eden to water the garden and parted and became into 4 heads. The tree life from Chattahoochee to Bristol is the largest of any other area in the world. The Bible names 28 trees. The best authority on earth have identified 27 of them here, and many more, including the gopherwood tree. The Bible names those 4 river heads as the Pison, the Gihon or Gihon, the Hiddekel, and the Euphrates. The first one was the Pison. The Bible says that is it that compasseth the land of Havilah, which was North Florida before the flood, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is G-O-O-D. The Bible used that adjective to describe the North Florida gold to further tie down the exact location of the Garden of Eden. The next verse says there's also bdellium there, which is nothing but rosin out of pine trees that God instructed Noah to pitch the ark out of, and onyx stone, which is marble. And North Georgia, right where this great river has its source, is one of the largest marble areas in the world. The Tate Marble Quarry and Company there at Tate, Georgia, is one of the largest. So the natural monuments definitely mentioned and described in the Bible as being related to the Garden of Eden are here, and they are not anywhere else on this earth.
Well, not only are we sitting in the Garden of Eden, but we're also sitting in an area where you say Noah built the ark.
Noah built the ark out of gopher wood, which God selected himself for him to build it out of.
Is this the only place that you know of?
This is the only place on this earth where it has ever grown. It's the most peculiar wood on earth. You can take a piece of it the size of this match when it's green. You can't break it. You can twist it and turn it. It's the lightest wood on earth. I have had its fibers, its structure, its every phase of it chemically analyzed. There's no other wood on earth like it. It's the lightest. And Noah built the ark out of wood not very far from where you and I are sitting here at Torrey State Park. It was loaded, and then it floated 5 months and landed on Mount Ararat, where we know definitely that it's now embedded in the ice.
Now there are four rivers that are necessary for the Garden of Eden. What are the four rivers here?
A river went out of Eden to water the garden, says the 2nd chapter of Genesis, and it parted and became into four heads. The Pison, the Gison, the Hiddekel, and the Euphrates. That is the only four-head river system on this earth. When the idea or the notion or the belief that the Garden of Eden was somewhere else or over in Europe or in Africa or someplace over there, the Western Hemisphere was unknown. They did not know that the continent existed west of the Atlantic Ocean. Therefore, they couldn't search this continent along with the others to find the river of four heads and these other great natural monuments which the Bible said was related to the Garden of Eden. It came my pleasure and my responsibility and my duty to search the North American continent and definitely point out the same bare natural monuments that the Bible relates to.
Callaway points with pride to the official map of the U.S. engineers at Chattahoochee, which shows what Callaway says is the only four-head river system in the world. That is a system described in the Bible, where in Genesis, the river flowing out of Eden, which waters the garden, parts and becomes into four heads. First there is the Gihon, now known as the Flint River, which flows towards the land of Ethiopia. Then the Euphrates, the Spring Creek River, whose name was transferred to the Middle East after the flood. The Hiddekel River is Fish Pond Creek River, which borders the land of ancient Assyria. And finally the last of the four rivers, the wide and lovely Pison, the Chattahoochee, today a river of trade and commerce. The Apalachicola seems an unlikely name for the river flowing through Eden, but here, according to Callaway, is the heart of the garden. This peaceful river is the life source of the lush vegetation of the original habitat of the first man and woman. According to Callaway, the names of these rivers and the land surrounding them were transferred to the other side of the world, when after floating in the ark for 40 days and 40 nights, Noah and his family landed on Mount Ararat in Turkey. The legend of the bountiful garden, too, was transferred to the Middle East, where archaeologists have searched in vain for a four-head river system, such as described in the Bible. Well, Mr. Callaway, everyone knows the story about the Garden of Eden and the Tree of Knowledge. Do you know where the Tree of Knowledge existed in this garden, and was it an apple tree?
The word apple, or the plural apple, is not even mentioned in the book of Genesis. That's been added on by fiction and superstition. The Bible mentions apple or apples 3 times, but they're speaking of the apple of the eye because it's in the shape of some apples, you know. The tree of knowledge of good and evil is a spiritual tree. God told Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden in the 16th verse of the 2nd chapter of Genesis, of every tree of the garden, of the fruit of every tree of the garden, thou mayest freely eat. There was not any forbidden fruit in the garden. But he told them in another verse, there's one in here, that if you eat that, you shall die. And that's the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Mother Eve thought a good long time before she made up a decision whether or not to eat the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. And she decided that she'd rather live the 70 years that God had promised them by knowing good from evil and then die rather than live on a parity with a totally insane person or an animal forever in paradise and never know right from wrong.
There is a certain magic here in the heart of these woods, for they are special woods to one man. To him this sanctuary of nature is more than interesting, its loveliness more than coincidental. It is planned and deliberate. The beauty of this forest contains not only the serenity and quiet of unspoiled and unpillaged land, but the mystery of life and creation itself. The idea, the intimation, and finally for him, the proof that this is Eden, crowns this green glen, that wooded hill, this flowing river, with purpose. They are tangible elements of a beginning that is buried in the hearts of all men, a beginning shrouded in the mists of time and tradition, a beginning that is believed but unproven. For where, after all, did it happen? Was it here or there, east or west, in a now modern city or in a forsaken desert where no man lives? Calloway answers the confusion by saying simply, it happened here. He knows because he was meant to know, and for him this is no ordinary place. He has discovered the secret of this forest, its purpose and its meaning. Paradise lost has been for him and those who believe him regained, and for one man that is his reward. The key to Eden is gopher wood, the Torreya evergreen. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, said the Lord to Noah, and gopher wood grows only in this park. The tree produces a buoyant wood that would be suitable for the building of an ark. The logs of petrified gopher wood which Calloway discovered here, he said, were sawed off good and smooth, just like a chainsaw would have done.
This is a part of the beauty of the Garden of Eden. When the recent storm Agnes was coming up through the Gulf, my friends and neighbors were calling me and warning me to board up or leave there. I said, go back and go to sleep, go to bed. God's not going to destroy the Garden of Eden. When it got out at Apalachicola, it parted, and one half went up through Tallahassee and the other Panama City, and just as it got north of Chattahoochee out of the garden, it went back together and spanked the hell out of them from there on to New England. I've pointed out to man, I've proven it by natural monuments, the same as are described in the Bible, and I've given him a direction as to how to go there. And they're going to come here by the tens of thousands, not gamblers and crooks and speculators, but the finest men and women on this earth, to come here and feel. You feel something here you don't feel anywhere else in the world.
This is Diane Conklin, 4 p.m. in the Torreya State Park.
All right, I'll give you just 10 minutes.
All right, sir.
Now, did you get that horse over there?
Yes, sir. But, Miss Steve, what I'm worrying about, how you gonna get over there?
I shall certainly love to get out of this joint.
I sure wish I known some way.
What are you doing? Well, sir, but you know, I forgot I had this horse liniment in my pocket.
Mm-hmm. And you know it's horse liniment, don't you?
Hey, oh, hey, give me that cork. This one, give me. Back up, easy. Keep on, they got a match.
Match?
Yeah, hurry up, give me a match.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Steve!
Why, Mr. Steve, that's got it.
How you think I look, huh?
Well, that makes you look better. If I was you, I'd keep that on all the time.
What do you mean you keep this stuff on all the time?
I didn't mean nothing. I meant if I didn't know I was me and you was you.
Here. Go put that jacket on there. Get over there and be looking out that window. Duck down there and pull that thing way down over the back of your head. Well, Mr. Steve, I certainly do hate to go out of here and leaving you here in this jail with that big horse race coming on here this evening.
Come on out there, you
Hurry up!
off eat two but one. Mighty nice of you to laugh at me. Ain't no use pretending I ain't nervous here tonight. Because I sure am. You see, we're going to have a baby up at our place. Maybe you women don't realize what it means for a man to have a baby. Thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know why I was so worried about coming out here to Brooklyn. It looks like it's a pretty nice place, full of nice people. You know, every time I spin this rope, it reminds me of something that happened back in Claremore, Oklahoma. It was just about to string a fella up. Sheriff leaned over to him and said, "Have you got anything to say before we hang you?" The man said, "Sheriff, this is sure going to be a lesson to me." Which proves that spinning a rope's fun, provided your neck ain't in it. I'm supposed to have a horse out here, and I stand on him. But the horse didn't show up. I don't know what he's doing, but I'll bet it's something useful. You know, horses are smarter than humans. You never heard of a horse going broke betting on people. Straighten that out for me. I'll try it here on the piano. Looks better on a horse, though. He was perfectly willing to land on Broadway and pick me up at the stage door. But for some strange reason, the mayor and the whole police department, they kind of objected. You know, looking out here at this big crowd, it kind of proves something wonderful. This country of ours ain't made up of budgets or income taxes or Wall Street values. It's made up of people. People who care about each other. As long as that stays true, why, we can pull through anything. Now, I'm only out here for a few minutes to fill in for a couple of boys named Ford and Rockefeller. They couldn't get their song and dance act into shape. So instead, they told me to tell you that each of them would double everything that's raised here tonight. So if you feel the way I do, that these boys are a little bit too rich, why, here's your chance to do something about it. Now, don't hold back. Now, there'll be no hard feelings, even if they have to go out and sell apples on the street corner to raise coffee money in the morning. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's your opportunity. Open up your hearts and open up your wallets. Remember, it's only money.
Will was on the move once again, raising money, pleading with people not to sell their country short, then rushing back to the plane so Wiley Post could fly him to the next town. I
am a little weary.
You're such a fool, dear. Or maybe I'm the fool for worrying about you so much.
You know, honey, if it hadn't been for you, I'd be scattered all over the prairie someplace. Never amounted to a hill of beans. Somehow you always piece me together.
Oh, don't be silly. I just want you to keep your health, that's all. You know, I don't think you realize all the wonderful things you're doing. Thousands of wires and letters come to the ranch. And you know, you're actually putting a smile on faces that have forgotten how to smile. I think that part is much more important than all the money you're raising. You're giving people back something that they've lost. I don't know exactly what to call it. It's kind of a courage and morale and hope all rolled into one. People are beginning to laugh at themselves again. Maybe that's it. But whatever it is, you're doing it. Wake up, darling. Wake up.
I ain't just like a woman. A minute ago, you bawled me out for not being asleep.
Sorry, Mr. Rogers. It's not permitted to have a lady in the room. Rules of the house, you know.
But this ain't no lady. This is my wife.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, ma'am. Mrs. Rogers, I didn't realize that,
Don't spoil it by apologizing. I've never been so flattered in my life.
Yeah.
Ohio, with 52 votes, has just placed in nomination its governor, the Honorable George White. This was more or less expected, and in all probability, the Ohio delegation will stay with their popular governor in the early balloting.
I've got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've just been able to get Will Rogers up to our booth. He generally has something pretty pertinent to say about anything. How do you size up the situation, Will?
Well, I can usually pick out a few flaws in most any situation. But after this last little trip, it's kind of hard. Now, mind you, I don't say there ain't room for improvement in the country. Seeing it the way I did, how it's facing up to trouble, why, she looks pretty near good enough to live in. I don't care what the Democrats say here today. No, sir. This nation's bigger than any man or any party. They couldn't ruin it even if they tried.
Thanks, Will Rogers. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks as though things are quieting down on the floor and the nominations are about to begin again.
The chair will now recognize the chairman of the state of Oklahoma.
Mr. Chairman, the state of Oklahoma would like to enter the name of its favorite son and favorite American for the president.
Oh, is dead. Yes, dear.
Your boy!
Couldn't be seemly.
Oh, Clem.
What are you waiting for, Will? They want you.
Hey, here he is in here. Come on, Will. We're waiting for you.
Let's go. Three burly gentlemen from Oklahoma are just conducting Mr. Rogers down to the convention floor.
Once in my life, I'm kind of stuck for something to say. There's no honor in the world like being nominated for President of the United States, even if it is just a favorite son nomination. I know, and you all know, who's going to be our candidate here, and it ain't going to be me. But even if my being up here is kind of a joke, I couldn't be prouder. It's been my lot in life to play the fool and make people laugh. I've kidded an awful lot of big men, but I've had mighty few complaints. I guess maybe that's a sign of a big man. I've tried living my life so that whenever I quit, I'm ahead. I've been an awful lucky fella. Been all over the world. I've met kings and rickshaw boys, senators and farmers, more people than most people would meet in 10 lifetimes. And I never met a man I didn't like. I'd like to thank the delegates from Oklahoma. The two finest things that can happen to a man is to have a good wife and to know he's been accepted by the people he comes from. And it looks like both of them have happened to me.
I knew Christ was a black man, but I kept preaching white Jesus because it kept the money coming.
We skipped Deuteronomy 28 on purpose. If y'all knew who you were, school would lose control. They paid us to push murder music to your sons, then built prisons to catch the fallout. I knew your vote didn't matter. The real power ain't in ballots, it's in bloodlines. Tithes was never about God. It was about control. We kept you loyal, broke, and blind. We trained to fear black men, even in neighborhoods they grew up in. It's not protection, it's war. They test medicine on y'all before they ever try it on them. Y'all the guinea pigs.
They told us to push college loans, not purpose. Keep y'all in debt, not destiny.
Y'all heard it from their own mouths, religion, schools, cops, doctors, labels. But the truth, we the chosen, and we waking up now.